All right, welcome to Coaching Youth Hoops.
Coach, how you doing?
Good. I would say how are you doing? But we've been talking for
An hour, almost 2 hours.
almost 2 hours before we came on the podcast. So we're gonna keep the intro. We got our small talk out of the way, people.
Yeah, so we won't bore you with
So
all
we
this.
won't bore you with all the small talk, even though we were just talking about fishing. And yeah, if any listener knows how to catch trout in a lake trout fishing, I know how to catch trout on a stream or a river.
Hmm.
Steve at teachhoops.com. I will find something special for you if you can teach me how to catch trout
Send me the
in a
video.
lake, deep lake, 45 feet. I've tried a lot of different things. It's only year two of the lake house, but I want to catch more trout. And I know they're deep. I know they're deep. So help me. Okay. Anyway, that's not
Hey, when you do catch all those trout, you can record it all on Game Changer. So
I
you,
can. Let's talk about game changer, coach. That's good. That was an I'd give that like a B minus, but go ahead.
yeah. I was trying to think of something to good transition. Coaches, head on over to gc.com/coaching youth hoops. Check out Game Changer this season. Work smarter, not harder. Have all your games recorded. Mom and dad can see the game stats live. Grandma can see it no matter where she's at on the
Wyoming,
premise
Montana.
or
Yes.
exactly wherever, distance from the game. Uh, Plus a whole lot more to help you organize your team. Again, gc.com/coaching youth hoops.
Hey, can we use that when we give away our free clinic, coach? Can we use Game Changer to tape? Can we do that? I don't know, something. Let's figure that out.
I
They
don't
do
know.
live streams.
They
We
do
could
live.
charge for that live. We'll have to think about that. We'll talk to
Probably
Game
not the
Changer.
best app to do the. I'd love to see the AI analysis on our clinic.
Yeah, that would be good. So where do they find the sign up for the free clinic, coach? They can still do that.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. That's it. Yep. Go to coachingyouthhoops.com/clinic. Again, coachingyouthhoops/clinic. Check it out. Coach and I are coming your way
yep,
wherever you are.
we will find a weekend that works.
Yep. Yep. We'll come and educate all of your coaches on everything we have learned over the last 30 years. But we won't go that long. It'll be
Yeah.
3 hours.
And
And
then we want to talk. So what's today's topic? Because it leads into kind of our checklist, right? So what's
yeah,
today's topic?
exactly. Yeah. We're gonna talk about the preseason plan. More about not like the steps you should do to, not yet, right? We're gonna more high level, like what goes into a preseason plan? How should you think about it? Um, and again, I'll more specifically, like how do you map out a season and think about it? Um, I came up with a kind of a framework uh, because I thought that would be a lot better to communicate, and it's called impact. Uh, and the way you think about a season is one is first you got to identify your core values, and we'll break all this down. Next, map out your season goals and milestones. Plan your season structure. We'll go into details in a bit. Um, think about advancing your players and team development. Create team culture, and then track progress and adapt. So that's impact. So the impact using the impact framework to think about your season at a high level. Um, anyway, I figured that would be a lot easier. We'll put that into the
That's
show
a
notes.
lot of information, coach.
Yeah, it's a lot. We could probably make a couple podcasts out of that.
We probably
But
could have, but
was thinking about this topic, and there is a lot that goes into a basketball season, even for a youth coach.
right.
And
And I
we're
think
all
it
so
depends on
busy.
the level. The level of
Correct.
about goals and philosophy for a third grader and an eighth grader are different.
Correct. But
Yeah.
you still I think that if we start at the top, identifying your core values and philosophy, I think it's really just important to say, even literally, this stuff can take 30 seconds. What do you
Right.
believe in? What do you believe in?
Right.
Right?
Like if I'm a third grade coach, I believe in kids should have fun. They should be
Right.
playing. It should be, I don't want to be their last coach, blah, blah, blah. If it's in my core values, are going to probably stay the same, but my philosophy about some of the things that they need to do in eighth grade might be different.
That's correct.
Um, so
Yeah.
yeah, I think you got to write these things down. I am a firm believer.
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
Every season, I write down a mission statement for me. Me, no one sees it. No one's ever seen it. No
Mm,
one knows it, like other than me. Um, but that's me kind of identifying my values and my philosophy moving into that season.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
And
write it down.
our mission of coaching youth hoops is to positively impact 1 million kids by 2032, right? Um, and that's why we do these podcasts and
Right.
such, and that's our guiding light. So everything like, is this going to help a coach impact the kids that he needs to impact? So that's actually where the word came from. The,
Right.
is our mission, but impact. But I think the other thing too is, this is a big one. What's success? That
Right.
goes into that first thing, identifying your core values and philosophy. So identify success. You might say wins, you might say smiling faces, they come back next year. Maybe you inherited a team, and just squeezing out an extra win is a win for the season, right? So identify what your wins are. So that's under again, I identify core values and philosophies. And then map out your season goals and milestones. And the basketball season is one of the longer sports seasons that you play. And what stretches it out are the holidays in there, Thanksgiving, Christmas, at least here in the States. It runs through, October. Ours really starts in September,
It's
goes all the way through February, March with playoffs. So that's a long time. And you got to map out those milestones along the way, set clear, measurable
it's many
objectives.
goals too. Like
Right. Yeah.
coach knows I've had a pretty successful career as a high school
Yeah.
coach. If it's not, my goals and milestones are never, I mean, I want to win, but I've never had an undefeated season ever. I've been really close, but I've never had one. Like, it's like, it can't be it's, the goals have to be attainable. Um, but they have to be realistic too, and they have to be, and there's different goals in different parts of the season. I think
Yeah.
and as a youth coach, I think you really have to think about that. Like, is it being closer? Is it getting everyone in? Is it like, last year we won 3 games. Maybe we're going to win 6 games this year, or maybe, more kids are going to come to more of the tournament, whatever it is. The individual coaches, I think, would have a better idea than we would as far as those specific things. But
Well, and I
they
think
got to
not
be
only for the
measurable, and they got to be specific, and they got to
yeah,
be obtainable.
that's right.
Like, my goal this year is not going to be go undefeated with my team. That's not an attainable goal this year. It's just, would
Right.
I love to go 28-0? Sure. It's probably not going
Yeah.
to happen. I mean,
28 no include a state title.
it would.
It would. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, but that's like, I mean, I've had teams that was possibly a goal, but it was
Yeah.
still
Right.
anyway.
It's not a
Yeah.
bust of a season if you go 27-1, unless it's the last game.
Right. I did that once. Thanks for pointing that out. That was 2004, coach. Undefeated the entire season until the state
Oh,
championship.
really? Oh,
Yep. 3
that would have been
Mr.
your fourth.
Basketballs. That would have been. I had 3 Mr. Basketballs on that team.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who'd you play?
We played Milwaukee King, and one of the kids just kind of went like, he just
Off.
went off. Just
No.
went off.
No.
And we had never won one. I wasn't as the coach I wanted to be at that point. I mean, I would not lose that game now.
Yeah.
Best player, Wesley, who played in the NBA, broke his hand in the semis. There's lots of
Lots of things
factors that happened. But anyway,
yeah. All right. So map out
yeah.
your season goals. Set clear, measurable objectives.
Obtainable,
But
measurable,
measurable and obtainable.
measurable.
And I think about it as, what do you want your players to hopefully achieve, and as well as the team, and just put that in the back of your mind. This stuff doesn't have to take long. Plan your season structure, and what I mean by that is divide the season. It is a long season. Divide it up into distinct phases: preseason, early, mid, late, post, right? And and set objectives for each of those and milestones, right? Allocate time and resources for the different aspects of all of those seasons. I think that's going to be important. Schedule your practices, games, and off-court activities within those sections as well. And, also, um, plan, it goes on the season plan is make sure you're breathing and taking a time out yourself, right? And don't get caught up in the wins and
Give them
losses.
breaks. So
Yeah.
going, well, I'll go back to the other things, but give them. I mean, I used to like when we were really good. I gave them off like a week during winter break, and people thought it
Yeah.
was crazy, but it was more they just went so intense they needed
That's
to
right.
get away. I'm going to do that again this year because I'm going to try it and see. Maybe we're going too hard. Maybe they
Yeah.
need to chill a little bit and relax.
The thing about
Um,
they're high school students in your case, right? And
right.
they got finals and all of that, and there's no
But I
stressors.
think structuring it is like you can think about like where you want to play, what when you want to implement things.
Yeah.
Maybe you only have one practice a week and
Right.
you have
Exactly.
three of those, and then you got to play a game. Well, what is the most important things to have in? You probably need depending on your
Yeah.
age group, you might maybe need a press break, you need an offense, you need an out of bounds play, you need like things so that you're at least, I don't want to say competent, but in some ways competent to be able to go play that first game so your kids know some specific basics. But you gotta like, and again,
Yeah.
does not
Yeah.
need you do not need a spreadsheet. You do not need to like spend
No.
6 hours doing this, but you should
No,
think
no.
about it though, I think.
You should definitely think about these things. And next week we're going to come back and actually going to talk about the next level of this, which is we're going to dive a layer deeper, which is also it is a framework that I created called the playbook framework, which then we're going to start drilling down in these things. And there's a third playbook called the framework that will be in probably 2 episodes ahead that really then takes it down to the individual practice level, and how to structure a practice the right way. So,
Right.
we want to make sure that you guys are all equipped with the right tools. But this one, I think the planning one is one of the more important ones that'll make everything else fall into place a lot quicker. So all right, let's
I agree.
continue. So we mapped out. So let's recap. We identify our core values. We're mapping out the season. We're planning our season structure. Now we got to talk about player development, team development, and what does that look like throughout your season? What are the milestones you hope to reach there? The gradual implementation of team strategies and systems. Again, these are broad strokes at this point, just so you can kind of organize. And we're going to backfill all of this. Creating a balance between offense and defense, right? Are you spending, 80% of your time on offense and a little bit time? So these are all the things you got to think about. And maybe your philosophy is, I believe in a defense. So you maybe do want to spend a little bit more time on those defensive philosophies. But how are you going to make sure that your players are advancing and getting those skills that they need?
It's the
Fundamentals.
fundamentals.
Yep.
I know people don't think like that word as much anymore, but it is I mean, you want to work on skill sets. Like,
Yeah.
you got to work on your putting, you got to work on your driving, you got to work on your short game. It's like, it's the same thing in basketball. You have to work on specific skill sets. Now, that's where the previous one is planning the season because you have to think about when you're going to implement things, but then when are you going to build in, because I've had coaches ask me this a lot at the youth level, is I got one practice a week for 2 hours, coach, what do I
Right.
do?
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, I said, well, what percentage of that should be skill work, and what percent, and again, it depends on the age level. It also depends on when you're going to, some people go for a month and don't just practice. Well, then you have more time to do those individual player work, and maybe Susie can't dribble their left hand and you got to work on that, whatever. So I
Yeah.
think those are some of the things you got to deep dive into as far as that advanced.
Well, and I would say the fewer practices you have, the more important this impact framework is for you.
Right,
Right?
right,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. If you're going
Uh,
5 days a week and you're maybe in a parochial league, then it's a little different.
right.
Shoot, then you can spend a practice maybe working on some shooting and ball handling and some skill work. Yeah.
All right. Next, team culture. Uh, what are you going to do to develop team culture, to your team building activities? Again, you don't have to do a lot if you don't have very many practices, but it's you're either going to create a team culture that's positive or negative, and you can squeeze out more wins if your team culture is a positive, a positive growth oriented environment, right? So that's crucial, right? We have
Yes.
our red dot framework we talked about, we've been talking
Right.
about forever, right?
Yep.
That's how we define our team culture, and it defines us, and it's very clear. And it takes less time and less coaching for me. I just go fall back to the red dot framework. Done.
Right.
Okay,
Done.
got it. Next. Right.
Yep.
And then the last thing is tracking all this, and what are you going to do to evaluate, track the season changes? You just
Measure.
lost 3 games in a row, right? And you lost them by 40 points. Time for a new plan, right?
Right. Well, but part of it
So
is like we have to adjust. It's
yeah,
like if you're
contingency
you,
plan,
yeah,
right?
there's a contingency, and you got to be willing to. I always tell coaches you got to be willing to look in the mirror. Like,
Yeah.
I did that a lot. I mean, I threw out something I thought was going to work great offensively. It
Oh,
lasted about 5 practices in one game, and it was like, holy crud, that was bad. And
yeah,
then we found something that worked, and it was the second to last game of the year.
yeah.
But we kept tweaking, and we kept working, and we kept asking the kids, and but you got to track it. You got to, it's again
Yeah, and it's
stats.
harder when you only have 1 to 2 practices a week
Yeah,
as a
it
youth
really
coach,
is.
right? And that's really tough. So you can't go too deep, and you got to make some bets as a youth coach. Okay, we're going to go with a 4 out 1 in,
Right.
right? And that's what we have. And you know what? We're probably not going to be able to change it because barely can get that in a season, right? So there are definitely limitations on your side, and you got to be. Um, but we have a new tool coming out that will hopefully guide that discussion and help you further down the road that we're pretty excited about. It's an AI-based tool that you put in some parameters and it'll help determine the offense you should run.
Yep.
So wait for that. We'll be making announcements
That's a
about that
tease in the podcast world. That's a
at the
tease.
tease. That's
That's a
right. Yeah.
tease.
Pretty
If
excited
it
about it.
if we're feeling good about it, we'll have a link down below. If we're not feeling good about it, and it's not working the
And
right way.
coaches, if you want this impact framework, just reach out. You know where to find us at Coaching Youth Hoops. I'm Coach Bill at Coaching Youth Hoops. Happy to share it with you. But let's go. Let's do a quick recap, Steve.
Yep.
So it's called the impact framework. Identify your core values, map out your season goals and milestones, plan your season structure, advance advance your players and team development, and create team culture, and finally track progress and make changes, right? Adapt where you need to adapt, right? Just be flexible. So that's called the impact framework. And again, by the time this podcast is done, you should have your thoughts down, at least jotted down in a piece of paper. Or this should not take that long at the youth level. Steve's level, yeah, absolutely. It's going to take him
Right.
a couple weeks, probably even. But he'd already started on his
Oh,
since
yes.
postseason because he's
Yes.
like, oh shoot, I know what I have coming in. I know what's not going to work,
Yep.
right?
I know
And
what I
then
gotta try.
I
Yeah,
got to try something else. But
I know.
youth level, you haven't even picked your team yet. In a lot of cases, you have no idea what to expect. But at least you're taking your thoughts that are probably all scattered and you're just putting them into this framework. Real simple. So,
Awesome. Anything else, Coach? What Game Changer? Let's give a big shout to Game Changer again.
yeah, Game Changer, thank you for making this content available for free to our coaches. Coaches, go to gc.com/coaching youth hoops for all of your data, game data needs.
Everything.
gc.com/coaching youth hoops.
All right. Till next week.
Next week.